Amandeep Singh, you represent the Conservative Party?
Well, I am a Conservative parliamentary approved candidate, so I am as a Conservative Sikh here today, yes.
Okay, I mean, let's reflect on this report. I believe the report, from the majority of the Sikhs' point of view, is very disappointing. How do you feel that the report came across for you?
Well, I think, certainly to me, as a person who has vested interest both in Punjab and here in Britain, I think the report came across very well indeed. I think the government went a long way to look into the allegations that were made with the documents that came out about 3 weeks ago. I think they went through 23,000 documents, 200 different files. What more could they have done? There are not many governments in the world that would have gone that far.
Let me ask you a question. One of the accusations were very blatantly put at Sir Jeremy Howard, that he contradicted the terms of the reference given to him by the Cabinet Office, that he didn't follow them fully.
Well, I think it is for the Cabinet Secretary to answer that question, but what I will say is that the Cabinet Secretary did a wonderful job of what he was asked to do. I don't think he can fault.
Okay, let me ask you another question. The Prime Minister very clearly said, we need to know how these documents came out. That wasn't covered on this document, this report.
Well, I think that's, again, for the Prime Minister to answer. You're asking me questions which are not exactly for me. I think that's what the Prime Minister...
Hang on, you are Conservative.
I'm a Sikh Conservative.
Okay, let's go further along. We're talking about the youth of this country.
Yes.
They were devastated when they heard about these letters. How do you feel the youth should now handle this report going forward?
Well, I think they should look to engage further with the government. Okay. They should go through the statement given by the Foreign Secretary, which is available publicly now. I think they should read through it. They should make representations to their parliamentarians if they feel they have anything more that the government could add to it.
Okay, there's a very strong accusation coming out from the youth that documents have started disappearing from day one. Within 24 hours of the letters coming to the public domain, documents from the files within the system, these are the vaults of government that started disappearing. And that's not going to please anybody, is it?
Well, look, I think that's a very serious allegation to make. What we do know is that there is one document that was destroyed under the previous Labour administration in 2009. Now, that is a key thing to be thinking about. But what the allegations you are making, I think they're very serious allegations.
Hang on, I'm not making those. This is what's in the public domain. And Sir Jeremy, I was in that meeting when Sir Jeremy Howard was challenged regarding the disappearances of the documents. Now, the fact that they've said in 2009 we did shred them, we're not talking 2009, we're talking 2 weeks ago when they first looked into the folder the day after the Prime Minister made the statement in the Parliament.
Well, I think that you would agree with me that it is the Cabinet Secretary who would have oversight of those documents during his inquiry, so anybody else to make that accusation is ridiculous.
So Jeremy Howard took it in the face. Now, you're just, let's face reality. They don't have all the answers, do they?
The Cabinet Secretary did a thorough job of going through 23,000 documents. I don't know what more anybody could ask him to do.
Okay, last question. What will you say to the youth of Britain now? From where we stand, how do we go forward?
I think, look, it's extremely important that we do continue to engage with the government here. And more importantly, I think the shift of focus needs to shift towards India. It needs to shift towards the justice that is still pending for the victims of the riots in 1984.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master, good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes. They ate the worst food. caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah. I'm a field